Hello, and thanks for joining us for yet another exciting session of the Executive Table with me, Mary Wamae. In this podcast, we look at the leadership journeys of our leaders in different industries and sectors, the values that drive them, overcoming diversity, the triumphs, the fears, the challenges, and the failures they had to overcome in their various journeys. We also take several lessons from our guests on how we can get ahead in our careers and build businesses that are 99% better than others, and position ourselves to take advantage of opportunities presenting us to us and have better and fulfilling lives. I do appreciate your comments, questions, engagement, because it challenges me to do even more, to bring guests who inspire us to aspire for more. The Executive Table today achieves a great milestone with a live recording from the beautiful Nairobi Serena Hotel. Today's guest is another polished village boy. His meteoric rise from the village to a revered African leader in financial services landscape is compelling narrative of transformation and impact. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Tom Gitogo, the Group Managing Director for British American Holdings PLC, popularly known as Britam. Karibu, Tom. You're most welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
Now, you describe yourself as village proper. Why? Tell us more.
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. You don't get an opportunity to share your thoughts and your journey every day, so thank you for inviting me. I'm also happy to see familiar faces and non-familiar faces, so thank you. Why do I refer myself as a proper village boy? This is because I actually grew up in the village, a village called Rurii in Olkalau. This is in the Nyandarua County, for those of you that are trying to figure out where that is. Why proper? It's because, to be honest, I did not know anyone in the big city. I found out later that we have relatives in Nairobi, but as I was growing up, I did not know any relative. My first visit to Nairobi was to the Ask Agricultural Show of Kenya.
Oh, the trade fair. They call it trade fair now. It was called the Agricultural Show before.
Yes, and okay. I remember I couldn't sleep the night before.
You were so excited.
Yeah, waiting to come.
You know, that the night I was to go to the University of Nairobi, I also did not sleep the whole night. You see, like you will sleep and oversleep, and the bus will leave you, eh? So it was the same for you.
It was.
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's great. So tell us about your education, where you went to school, what you studied, and the like.
So I went to school in Rurii. Most of the schools there had an English name, so it was called Louis. I don't know, St. Louis.
Louis.
Yeah. Yes.
So Rurii is a corruption of Louis.
I think so.
Okay.
But we stuck with Rurii. That's where I did my standard 1 to 7. Effectively, in between, I went to Matura Primary School. Matura. Yes. This is because my parents were teachers, and if they got transferred for whatever reason, I remember once, we followed them. Yes. So I grew up in Rurii. I did my CPE, and as you can probably guess, I passed. Yes. I went to Nyeri High School. Because I did not get an A in English. I had an A in math, I had an A. What else were we doing in those days?
Maths,
Maths,
English, and general paper.
And I passed that. I had an A. So I had 34 out of 36 points.
You know, the Gen Zs we will hear like that is history. We only had 3 subjects that time. Maths, English, and general paper.
Yes. So I went to Nyeri High School. It was a very good school back then. I'm not saying it isn't today, but I think it was better then. So I did Form 1 to Form 4. I passed my 4th form with 6 points, which means it was a very good score. I don't know the equivalent today, but
6 points was the best you could have got that time.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I got like an A plus in all the subjects.
Yes.
Including that English that I did not get an A
In CPE.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason it was difficult to get an A in Standard 7 is because we were being taught English in Kikuyu.
In Kikuyu.
Yes, yeah.
Kohoha gwetagwo withering.
Yes, that's okay.
That's how I was taught.
Yes, yeah. So from there, I joined Alliance, where I did my A-levels, maths, physics, and chemistry, before joining the University of Nairobi to do civil engineering.
So you became a civil engineer.
That's right, yes.
Wow. Someone called Albert Einstein said that the measure of intelligence for anyone is the ability to change. So why did you ditch engineering? Because I know for sure you ditched it at some point. Why?
I wouldn't use that adverb. I don't think I ditched it.
Oh, okay.
What did you do? For the younger people, you have to explain what we mean by ditch.
What you mean by ditching?
It means
okay.
left.
It could be something else.
Yes, I think, I don't know what they say nowadays, but I actually did not leave engineering, or at least that's the story I stick to.
Yes.
I still think like an engineer even today. But in those days, the Big Four had started coming to university to try and lure students from other disciplines other than just BCom to join them as management trainees.
The university.
Yes, from the university. So I remember that I applied to PW, Pricewaterhouse then, reluctantly. To be honest, I wasn't convinced that it was worth doing, but because everyone in our class was applying, so I did. But what did it for me is I also happened to read, at that time, a book by Lee Iacocca. He was the CEO of General Electric, I believe, and he was a mechanical engineer. So I remember figuring or wondering, oh, you can be a CEO even though you are an engineer. And reading the book a bit more, I realized you had to know quite a bit about business and management. So that sort of gave me the conviction that maybe this Pricewaterhouse gig isn't so bad after all. So I practiced civil engineering for a very long time, 8 months.
Okay. 8 months, that was quite long, eh? So you joined PwC and stayed for only...
No,
so did you leave?
So the engineering practice I did is during our, call it industrial attachment.
Okay. Like an internship sort of?
Like an internship.
Okay.
I joined a German engineering firm called HP Goff.
Yes.
Gauf.
Yes.
Gauff. Goff. And I went on an assignment to Kisumu to look at the water distribution system there.
Systems, okay.
For the county government back then. We didn't have what do we
It
have
was the
nowadays?
old
Yes.
structure,
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
But that's what then I left to join Price Waterhouse. So after graduating, I actually joined Price Waterhouse.
So Price Waterhouse gave you, was it a management trainee or something?
Yes, a management trainee.
Management trainee position. Okay.
So I had to now commence the studying of accounting papers.
Okay.
I had to do accountancy. In those days, Strathmore was on Riverside Drive.
Okay.
And I had to start at the bottom because the BCom students, graduates, were starting paper 3.
Yes. Okay.
But the engineers and other disciplines were starting from the ground. So CPA 1.
Okay.
Yes, so
That's amazing. So how did it go at now PwC? Like, what did you do? How long did you stay there? Explain how that went.
So your work is exciting, but that excitement is occasionally interrupted by photocopying papers for the managers, getting some water for them.
Did you make tea?
And, literally carrying the tea
from
the tea point to the to the managers.
Not too
but
bad.
for some reason, I remember doing it with gusto. I mean, to me, it was not.
Were you really passionate about that?
As in, I do not remember being depressed at all.
Okay,
because
you
of
accepted
that,
the task at hand.
That's right, yeah. Because these were occasional interruptions. You did actually understudy a senior, someone more experienced than you, as you went to clients' premises to look at their books.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So how long did you enjoy that job, and how long did you stay in PwC?
Remember, this was now a new world for me.
Yeah, because
I was an
your
engineer.
background is engineering.
Yes.
Were you comfortable?
Initially, I kept wondering whether I was doing the right thing. In the sense that my yearmates who went to engineering did not have to learn. So their day ended at 5.
Yeah.
And at 5, we went off to Strathmore ourselves to do accountancy. So you're wondering, you thought you were done with school, now you're having to sacrifice your free time to do accountancy exams.
Yes.
So I did that for about a year.
1 year.
A year and a half. Then I got an opportunity, because apparently I did it quite well, to go on secondment to the UK.
Okay.
So I was seconded to our London office in the second year of working with Price Waterhouse.
So did you go to London to work or to learn, or for studies?
Both.
It was
so
a combination.
I continued as a management trainee.
Okay.
I was now not doing, obviously, CPA exams here. I continued and started doing ACA. The examining body was the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. So I continued to work and qualify as an accountant, which obviously has its complications. But that was the best time to do it. I think before you become too busy and become too senior and have other responsibilities outside work like family, that worked out for me and my colleagues, because you really don't, as a youngster, you really don't have much else to do. So you can optimize that time.
You just focus on the task at hand.
Yes. Okay. And I then went up the ranks in PwC London and came back to rejoin Price Waterhouse here in 1997 now.
How long did you stay in the UK, in London?
It was about 6 years.
6 years?
Yes.
Now, I'm
5.5, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm just picturing now this village boy from Rurii on what is that street called? Oxford Street.
Yes.
Or the finance district is called what?
Forget the streets.
Yeah,
Forget
so
the...
tell us, you know what I mean? Tell us how that went, how that adjustment worked out for you.
First of all, I remember the disappointment that one of my grandfathers, who really believed in me, did not live to see the day when this youngster named after him. In our culture, we are named after our grandfathers, especially if you're the firstborn.
Yeah, sure.
But the grandfather,
your paternal grandfather,
yes, did not live to see the day when this villager was in a British Airways airplane going to London.
Queen,
sitting,
the Queen's place.
Yes, sitting inside the plane, not in the cargo hull. Yeah, and so it was quite an experience. An achievement and an experience.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they sent a whole load of villagers to the airport.
Yes,
to escort you.
To see me off, yeah.
Okay.
You know those buses with twigs on the outside?
I can
indicating
imagine.
They are going for a function,
and the songs and the dancing.
Yeah, but I must say, the 1 year I worked here before going out, I flew to Kisumu in one of the job assignments. So there were already indications that I had arrived.
You had already learned a few tricks.
Yes, because I was not aware of anyone that I knew of who had flown before I joined PwC, before I came to the city. In those days, there used to be these aeroplanes that were, I think, gauging the weather. They used to leave 2 white lines in the sky.
The trails, the
in those days,
trails.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to those planes.
We don't see them anymore. I don't know whether they are still there.
That's what I grew up seeing.
Okay, okay. So that was quite exciting. So, so you rose the ranks to what level at PwC in the UK?
A manager.
A manager.
Yeah,
okay.
So I came back here
as a manager.
Okay. In those days, we were specializing in market segments. The market I was placed under was financial services, which was fund management, banking, and insurance.
And insurance.
So that was when I started my dance with the insurance sector.
And the financial services sector generally.
That's right, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. So you came back here in the same position, or was it like...
So I had left as an assistant, if you recall, graduate trainee.
Yes.
And I came back and joined the manager ranks.
Now you are a
manager. Quickly rose to senior manager. Most of my clients were financial services because that's what I had worked on in the UK.
So what were you doing? Were you doing audit?
Yes, audit. I was in the audit side. Okay. So we didn't have enough clients here for a manager to only specialize in a certain sector. So in addition to financial services, I also looked after some manufacturing clients.
I see. Okay.
But during a year or two after coming back, one of my clients was Britam. As I was the audit manager on the
Britam.
Assignment. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So again, that started my
dance. So you interacted with them quite a bit.
Quite a bit. So and then along that process, or a year or two, the then CEO of Britam thought that I was probably doing a good job.
Do you know why he called you? You know, auditors always have a habit of pointing out what people have not done. So I'm sure he told you, those things you are saying we have not done, come and do them yourself now.
Yes.
I'm sure that was why the MD gave you that role.
Yes. So
you joined them after how many years in Kenya now? 2 years?
2 years after coming back.
2 years. You joined Britam.
Yes.
Okay.
GM Financial, Support Services, that I was looking after HR, IT,
Okay.
Legal, but my main docket was finance.
So you are reporting to who? To the finance director or to the
CEO.
MD?
We did not have the position of finance director at that time, so I was reporting directly to the CEO.
Okay.
But some years later, we came up with the finance and strategy docket, and I was promoted to that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, at this point, I want you to share a few lessons on how you rose, because now you have become you went all the way to GM Finance, and then you went to Pan-African and you became the MD, and then you became the MD for CFC. Now, I want you to explain why you think you are able to rise so fast, because I think it was quite within a very short time. Just explain what you had to do to be able to rise that quickly.
That's a good question. One, right through primary school and high school, I remember I was always a curious boy.
Yes,
and
curiosity.
My curiosity led me to want to know things beyond what was expected of me. So, for example, if we went to the Nairobi agricultural show that I mentioned earlier, I remember I was perhaps the only student from Rurii primary school that was almost being left behind whenever there was someone explaining something.
Something. You are listening.
I was keen to understand. When I joined Price Waterhouse, we were given assignments and allocated to clients, but there would be instances, a few days or sometimes a week, when the client you're waiting to, the client's assignment you're waiting for, to come, you could be sitting in the audit room for a few days. So I remember voluntarily approaching managers to ask them whether I could help. I'm going that far back because I'm trying to look for a pattern that I would attribute to this. And actually, one of the reasons I was picked to go on secondment to the UK, given that our cohort was 25 graduates, one of that was, it turns out, I found out later, is because I was offering to do
even what no one has requested you to do, you used to do, to offer to do.
Yes, and it turns out the managers who obviously were later then to recommend who can go on secondment, they were noting.
So it was only one person who was picked?
It was two of us.
Two of you out of 25?
Yes, in our year, yes.
Okay,
and by some coincidence, we shared the same birthday with this other fellow that went. So when I was working through PwC and so on, that curiosity, to be honest, I think is one of the things I would attribute to my promotions. The other one was discipline. It might sound like an exaggeration, but I do not remember a meeting I was late for.
Wow.
In all that time. So that's probably, and I think being late for a meeting sometimes may indicate, there are genuine reasons you can be late for a meeting, but often it might have a bearing on maybe you don't think that meeting is very important, or the people in that meeting are not very important. So it may touch on respect. So I think that's one. Then the other thing is we all know that you are promoted on the recommendation of others, your seniors or the people you are working for. So if you're not then useful or coming across as useful and reliable to your managers, then yours might not be the first name that comes to mind when they are looking for someone to promote. So I recall trying to be quite useful and helpful to my colleagues at work.
And really going out of your way in both the duties you have been given, assigned, and even those that you thought needed to be done as a follow-up and all that.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing. I think the other question is, I'm being asked all the time, how do you develop yourself as a leader? Because I'm sure there's something you have to do extra for you to rise to the level you have risen over the years. How do you develop yourself?
So one, the basics, the 101 is you must equip yourself with knowledge. So it doesn't hurt to go back to school on relevant qualifications. So for example, if you're in the corporate world, an MBA doesn't hurt. In our case, as when I started off as an accountant, obviously seeking to be a qualified accountant, because there are people we worked with, but were not paying too much attention to their professional papers, and therefore they were taking longer to qualify. There are some organizations where the minimum requirement to go to the next level is a qualification in that field. In the insurance industry, obviously there is insurance qualifications, but even if you are not an insurer, but you're working in a certain industry, if you're in HR, irrespective of the company, it would be useful, obviously, to get HR papers. If you're in marketing, why wouldn't you get marketing professional papers? In other words, if in a heap of 20 people or 10 people, I don't know whether a group of people is a heap, a group. If you're in a group of 10, 20 people, you all went to college most likely.
You have a first degree.
You all have a first. What is this differentiator that gets people to remember you after the, yes, what is outstanding about you? It could be your reliability.
Yeah.
It could be your efficiency, and you are always reliable. It could be your discipline. But as you become a leader or gravitate towards leadership, your people skills have to be, because businesses and customers will favor someone who makes them feel good in addition to delivering results. If two leaders achieve the same results, one has blood all over the floor because they walked all over their clients and one didn't, I have a feeling the one that didn't will have more sustainable results.
Yeah. So they'll progress faster and be picked from many.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's shift gears to your current role. It's common knowledge that when you joined Britam, the business was not doing very well for various reasons. But what we have seen now is a complete turnaround. I think the recent results that you announced was a staggering 7.3 billion. Congratulations, 7.3 billion for 2024. So tell us, what did you have to do to turn around that business to, and you know, because you have reclaimed the market position, market leader position. So you can tell us exactly your role as a leader in that transformation.
Thank you for that question. I'm happy to see some of my colleagues in the room, because obviously this is not something you do alone. But people might not know that between my previous role and my current Britam role, I had retired.
Oh.
Yes.
No, I think you need to tell us that.
Yes.
That was a CIC.
Yes.
You are the group.
I was the group CEO.
CEO also.
CIC is in 4 countries, so I was looking after the 4 countries. Now, I had this lofty idea that I had forgotten about. So be careful what you say on your day-to-day BAU. I had this lofty idea to retire at 50. And I missed that by 10 months because I left CIC in October 2019. So and my birthday is in January. So I had missed the 50th, the 50th year aspiration of retiring by 10 months. Yeah. But I had forgotten about it. And there is various reasons why the timing was October 2019, which I can talk about another day. So why had I retired? One, at the end of the day, and I think it is okay to ask oneself, is this all there is about? You know, board meetings, staff meetings, town halls, AGM, market activations, another board meeting, market activations.
Same cycle.
Yeah. So I remember asking myself that. Two, for most corporate leaders, there's usually the guilt that one feels that they could spend more time with their family.
Yes.
I did tried over my working life to spend a lot of time at home, but I started later. Earlier on, I was from the school of thought that the more hours you put in at work, the better you are.
Yeah. Forgetting
that life is a wheel, and you need to be evenly.
There's more to it than one.
Yes. So I strongly believed that the role of going for school plays and school closures for kids belonged to my wife. That is not, I paid the school fees after all, so why of course that's the thinking of a young man who wants to make it in life, because making it in life for young men back then
is a position.
Yes.
You are chasing the position.
Yes. And I want to say on this live recording that it isn't. Life is about everything. There are very many successful people who have brought up wonderful families who are not CEOs somewhere. So I want to dispel the myth that for a young man to be successful, you have to be to sacrifice time with for your family. Of course, it is foolish to spend all the time at home, because you do find that
at the end of the day, there will be ugali on the table, eh?
Yes, and school fees need
to
be paid.
Yeah.
Very few schools will accept the explanation that you have not made money because you spent time at home. But it is the balance. I just wanted to bring that out. So in the 2.5 years that I had retired, I really relaxed, and I was quite happy. And I would encourage people to occasionally take some time off if you can. 6 months, maybe 2.5 years is too long, but I could afford 2.5 years. Maybe earlier on you can't afford that sort of period. But it resets your compass. Now the things that matter to my life are totally different. This is coming to answer the question you asked.
So you reorganized your priorities at that point?
Yes.
Yeah.
So having reset my priorities meant that when I now rejoined Britam, I could easily pick out the areas that needed prioritization. And for me, it was apparent that reassuring our staff that they are treasured and that their input is required, and that they know the answer to what needs to be done to reconquer the market actually lies with them, not with consultants out there, not necessarily with the leadership in the organization. It is with them. And I think that was the first win that I had, because when we did Okay.
Hey, they seem like they agree with you.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So it's a people-centered focus.
Yes.
People-centered focus.
Which I would not necessarily probably have prioritized if before.
Yeah.
And this was actually scientifically confirmed because, and it is important for organizations and maybe leaders that are listening to this discussion to measure the staff feelings. Those HR surveys, they're very important. They're as important as market surveys so that you can identify areas to work on and to improve their livelihood. After all, they spend a lot of time in the office. So identifying that I needed the staff to believe in me and to therefore rally behind me and support me was important. And I think that was the biggest. The second one is obviously willingness to listen and to consult, both within and without. And this brings me to the point that it is unlikely that the issue you are going through has not faced someone else somewhere. Yes. So, I mean, as you go up your career or as you go up in your leadership quest, have some mentor or someone you look up to. They don't have to know that you're looking up to them, but if you have access to them, why not? You'll be surprised at the willingness most leaders have to share what they know with others. So again, just knowing or having the presence of mind to listen to both my staff, the market, other players, obviously had something to do with it. Then you also must have confidence. You know, even when you are concerned about something, you can imagine as a leader standing in front of a team and I'm not saying don't be vulnerable, that's different. So there's a place for vulnerability. I'm talking about confidence. It helps if you know what you're talking about, and that knowledge I talked about earlier, it's helpful.
Yeah.
But even as you are in the process of processing what needs to be done or where you need to go next, be confident. There is an example I give, and I hope it will communicate. Airlines are allowed by IATA to overbook, because not everyone turns up for flights.
Last minute cancellations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes everyone actually does turn up, and you could have a confirmed ticket, but your class is full. So occasionally you might be upgraded to business class or first class.
Yes.
If your ticket was an economy ticket and you get upgraded to business class or first class, once you go there, don't see it like
like you don't belong.
Yes. Ask for the things that you
even
see
if you
others
are a
are
village
asking.
girl or a village boy.
Yes, yeah. And the air hostesses and crew are trained that if you are in business class, it doesn't matter how you got there.
Yes.
You should be treated. You are there.
I'm here.
Yes. So what confidence does is that if you happen to be at a table where you know what you say in the next 5 minutes could change the trajectory of your life, say it.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't no. Yeah. You will be surprised at some meetings I have gone to, and you would think that I'm used to those meetings.
Wow.
Yeah. Because every time I am sort of unsure, I remember where I have come from. The distance I have covered is way longer than this distance you are putting here.
Yes.
So
It's true.
So confidence, yeah.
Wow. So confidence. When talking to your stakeholders, that marketing pitch, when you meet the customer you've been waiting to meet for a whole year, Tom is telling us, just talk as if you're the best in that area, even if you are not sure, you know. Confidence pays. And I also believe that if you are talking to staff, when things are very tight and very tough, how do you reassure them without, of course, going overboard that everything will be okay? Because that's also important. How do you do that reassurance?
In one of your slides, you talked about honesty and authenticity.
Yes.
There are some things you can't fake. Staff can tell whether you have their back.
Yes.
When you have their back, they will have yours.
Yes.
So you're able to have an honest
Conversation. Yeah.
so that the issue you are discussing now has the benefit of many minds looking for a solution. Some of the solutions that have worked like miracles have actually come from very unlikely staff members as well. Yes, so if staff know that they can tell you anything,
And you will listen.
Yes.
Without retribution.
Yes. I mean, when forensic auditors come to an organization to investigate something, and then they do a report to the board that sounds like they are God, all they have done is pieced together information that already exists in the organization that no one had or attempted to piece together. There isn't a solution you are looking for in an organization that doesn't exist in that organization. It may not exist 100%, but a good percentage of it is there. So just discuss the issue amongst yourself. It's like a family. There is many issues you can achieve or acquire as a family by just consulting one another. Don't rush to the neighbors for solution before you have exhausted discussion at the family table. Yeah.
Any parting shot?
I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be around for
Tom
a while.
is here.
Yeah, so I'm here. So it's not a parting shot, but perhaps a final or a last-minute thought on this is the world we are leaving behind was rewarding you for knowing everything about something. The world in front of us will reward you for knowing something about everything. Something that is enough for you to ask AI the right questions and guesstimate when the answer is not right. It is difficult to see 10 years into the future as the same length of time as 10 years ago. To the human brain, 2015 looks and sounds nearer than 2035. But it is exactly the same time. What that means is that your mind default setting is not towards planning. It is towards complaining.
The past.
So distinguish yourself by joining the club that plans. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. A better clap for Tom. Oh, thank you, Tom, for taking time to share your knowledge and wisdom with us. You are a living testimony that principled and purpose-driven leadership can transform institutions and uplift communities. I wish you all the best in your upcoming journey. So thank you so much, and we wish you well. And we hope you'll not retire too soon. Now you're feeling a bit threatened. The colleagues at Britam, pray, maombi. You are watching the executive table with me, Mary Wamae, executive coach and author. Stay tuned for more wisdom from our leaders. Thank you.